Hello, how's it going, Nicholas?
Yeah, good, thanks. How you getting on?
Yeah, nice. Hey, looking good there. What have you got in the background there? Is that a baseball bat?
Yeah, that's my trusty Design Hero baseball bat.
Dude, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, it does the job. Yeah, is this your new studio then?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So
wow.
it's
that looks brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, I'm so honored to be the one to pop your studio's cherry. It looks great.
Yeah. And you can see I've got this I've got like a plant in a commode in the toilet. What else we got? I got the TV here because I was thinking which way would I face the, so I've got a screen here where I can see you. Or I could put you here, but I'm still figuring out, like the fine details of where to stand and, where to be. So yeah,
welcome. Progress.
Thanks so much for coming on the show. Like it's it's awesome to have you here. So I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for your time.
No, it's great to be here. I'm new to this as well. I've not done any podcasts before, so like you, I'm just figuring out where the camera should go, where it should point, and what. Oh,
you look great. Yeah, no, honestly, you look great. Traditionally, previously, I would be exactly the same as you. So, camera facing forward or a little bit to the side. And it's so awesome that you've got your logo on your t-shirt and like behind you. Wicked. You've got it. You're winning.
Well, do a lot of Zoom meetings, unfortunately. Well, maybe not, unfortunately. When lockdown started and stuff, everyone was new to Zoom. I'd already been doing Zoom meetings for years and just figured you're going to spend so much time in the camera with people, you might as well get the background, get the t-shirt, and then you're just reinforcing the brand all the time. So, and without fail, it's helped me win some pitches, I believe, because they all come on and go, oh, wow, what's that? Is that real in the background? And it just helps you, make a bit of a splash. So.
Yeah, because I had this as a digital image, as a digital background. And with the headphones, it was doing that, that like dodgy thing around any sort of fine detail. And through the gap, you could see like a poster of Godzilla that I had in my old office. So it looked rubbish. And my friend Patrick was like, he said, oh, dude, why don't you get one made? So I've had this made for, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. But I've just made the move now.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's very impressive.
Yeah,
even though he's angled, I think it sort of leads towards you. But that's sort of standing at the right point.
Yeah, I'm quite flexible about where I can stand as well. I can come all the way back here.
I can move, do a dance, lots of space. Room for activities.
Yeah, and also like if people were to come round as well, if we were to do it like one-on-one, like in person, then I've also got the room to do that now as well, where I didn't have that before because it was in a very, very small room before this.
That's kind of like me. I mean, you can't really see it because it's cropped out, but it's quite a small room. It doesn't go awfully deep backwards as well. Yeah. But for my purposes, it's absolutely ideal. You would certainly not probably have a client in here just because it's quite tight. You'd be sitting knee to knee. But for my purposes, I actually can't remember the last time I met a client in an office face to face. I go out and meet and stuff, but to be honest, so much of my stuff's remote. It's perfect. I've been working remote for ages, so it's ideal. And your space just looks perfect for for meeting people, and you could have a couple of people in there as well, I think.
Yeah. So are you is it your company? Like, are you an independent contractor, or are you employed by a company?
No, it's my agency. Design Hero, I guess it started as me. I guess they call it the original Design Hero, and it was a freelance moniker, I guess. And over the years, it just kind of snowballed into a full-time thing, I guess. But very recently, it's grown arms and legs, and it's actually, I guess, I've started recently calling myself an agency, because for years I've just been saying, I'm a freelancer, and the truth was that I had grown beyond that for quite a while. So it was time to sort of move out the freelancer zone into an agency. I mean, in terms of Design Hero, we're a very, very small unit. We're a very, very lean team, and that's by design. Whereas other agencies are always kind of want to get bigger and bigger offices and bigger jobs. We're very lean by intention. We prefer to have a very small team and keep everything tight knit, and all of the ideas are in 1 or 2 or 3 heads max, and we find that allows us to work long term with our clients and deliver better results than bigger agencies. I mean, we compete with very large agencies with a very small team because marketing has changed. You don't need a huge team sitting about on beanbags. You only need a couple of people that really know what they're doing to deliver real results, and that's where we're at. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's wicked. So what kind of things do you design? Is it advertisements? Do you do animation, or what kind of things is it that you work on, that you make?
We do a lot of stuff. However, more recently, I have been trying to niche down and reduce the amount of stuff we're doing so we can bring more focus to our core services. In terms of what we focus on, we sort of have a 3-step process, I guess you call it, because I used to do absolutely everything from graphic design. We do email marketing, we do SEO, we do social, we do Google ads, we do all that stuff. That's one of our main advantages, is that we're one point of contact for the client and we handle all their marketing needs. However, in essence, we are trying to streamline our service and provide the service which provides the most value to the customer. And that for us is a 3-step process, I guess. So the main 3 things we do is one, we build a powerful brand to help small business owners attract the right customers to their business and help them identify the right customers to sell to. That's the first step. The second step is web design. So we build really stunning, powerful websites to do primarily 2 things: automate admin and to basically help them sell while they sleep. So that's the second stage. And then the third part of that is driving traffic to that website, to their sales platform, which is usually in the form of SEO. It varies from business to business, but we found SEO to be the most reliable and successful tactic for driving traffic to the website. And for us, that is a successful formula that we can apply again and again to almost any business that gets them results. And that's why we're focused on that process. We've found in the past, the main gripe that we get from our clients is that they have a website, but they're not getting leads, or they've got a really good brand, but they've got nowhere to sell it. And if you do any of those things in isolation, it's kind of like having a car without the fuel. You've really got to focus on that process. Otherwise, you're only really getting part of the story, and you're not getting that steady stream of leads and that steady increase in profits that you need in a business to grow a business successfully online. So really, that's what we do, I guess, in a nutshell. You'd say we help small businesses target their ideal customers and sell to those customers online.
Yeah, that's super interesting. A few months ago, I was approached by a guy who said, "Oh, I've seen your website. I've seen your videos on YouTube. Doesn't seem like you get a lot of hits," which, that's a fair comment, but I'm not expecting it to be huge. I've only, at that time, I wasn't even podcasting for a year.
Yeah.
And the sort of the content that I produce is kind of like more business related. It's niche. It's not like mega popular. It's not like sort of like Twitch streaming or something like that. Although I am thinking of doing competitive eating. I'm definitely thinking of doing that. I reckon I could do that.
I reckon I could take you on.
What would you eat?
Crisps, man. Crisps are actually too. Oh, I'll munch multi-packs of crisps quite happily.
What? Just like normal crisps, or like what's it?
Salt and vinegar.
Like salt and vinegar crisps.
Salt and vinegar.
Oh, dude, like your mouth though. Like if you have like say you have like even, could you eat? How many do you reckon you could eat? Like 20 bags or more?
Oh. Are we talking about multi-pack bags or singles? I could eat my way through multi-packs, no bother. I'd be like scratching my tongue the next day. But
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, imagine you get to like pack 50 or something, pack 49, and then your tongue starts to bleed because of all the salt and vinegar.
Pringles are the worst. You get that coating.
Oh yeah. Oh, so dry. I was saying, yeah. So this guy was like, "Oh yeah, I can increase the traffic to your channel." I was like, "Oh great, how are you going to do that?" I wanted to fight. I'm not just going to take his word for it. I was like, "What are you going to do?" So he lists off like 10 different things that he's going to do. I went, okay. He doesn't know I'm like a computer scientist, right? So I go off and I do some like research, do a quick Google search, and like 5 of the things that he told me were like illegal and and not recommended. And I was like, "Nah, I'm okay, bro. I'm fine." Yeah, I thought if I need help with that, I'll go like see a professional, someone who's not gonna get me in trouble with Google and get me banned and get my business banned.
Yeah, you got to be very careful with SEO, and unfortunately, the truth is, in this niche, I'll probably get hate for this, but there is a lot of digital cowboys in the web design niche, and especially in the SEO niche. And the reason for that is SEO is such a long-term activity. You really need to commit to at least 3, more like 6 months. And because of that, you could be like a small business owner that doesn't know any better, could be paying out for like 3-6 months before they actually get to the point where they can even determine whether they're getting results or not. So it's just rife for people taking advantage. I mean, it really grinds my gears when you hear stories like that from people, because there's just if you're in a position of responsibility of like convincing someone that you can help their business, if you're not going to help their business, you shouldn't be trying to sell them anything. Basically, I would never sell anything that I feel doesn't benefit their business directly. But unfortunately, a lot of people just want to get that sale over the line. So
it's also like it's not only that like that person is trying to get money from the customer and they're sort of like over promising perhaps, or promising things that maybe they shouldn't even suggest, you know, like that they're not sort of like good policy or things to do, or they break like a platform's policy. It's like if that person's then bitten by that malpractice, then that doesn't just look bad on them, it looks bad on like the whole industry, on all digital marketers, all people who do like SEO. Like it's you know, it's just ridiculous, you know. You're right, it is digital cowboys, that's the only word for it, really. So,
I love that word because it's so accurate. I mean, SEO is quite a hard thing to sell sometimes. I mean, it's a very difficult thing to sell cold. You almost never sell it cold. I usually sell it as a result of a process after we've worked on their website and they see the results they're getting and the trust there, and they understand the need and what it is and what it does. However, again, the issue is just communication really with websites, particularly the way that people normally shop for websites is the natural way that people would do it. However, it's also the wrong, like the worst possible way you could shop for a website. Normally what happens is someone will pick up the phone, they'll call 3 web designers and they'll go, you know, how much is a website? And immediately at that point, a lot of web designers, all they want to do is sell you a website. Of course they do, they're a web designer, it's what they sell, they're going to try and sell you a website. But if they're not asking questions about why you want a website, you know, what are you going to do with your website, how are you going to drive traffic to it after you launch, if they're not asking you these things, then they're not going to provide you with a website which is actually going to deliver value. And the value is going to be the inquiries you get out of the website, or the time it saves you, or the professionalism that you get from having that presence online. So if you're going to if you're in the business for shopping for a website, I always say that you need to be getting asked these questions by your web designer. If they don't have at least a 40-minute call with you to ask these things, then it would be a major red flag for me. Because you know, if you're just shopping for the cheapest possible website, you're going to get a cheap website, and cheap is not the same as value. You know, there's that old expression between the difference in price and value. And for me, the value has got to be what's the benefit for your business from that website. There's no point in putting someone online if it doesn't benefit you.
So back in 2018, I did a little bit of freelancing myself, and I was working with this lady who had a language school, and she asked me to help, like to do her social media for her, and to, you know, create adverts and look after, you know, the Facebook posts and all that sort of stuff. So I do loads of like really good work for her. And then she's talking about she wants a website building, and she asks me to create a website that has got features in it that they're beyond me. And I'm honest with her, and I say, you know, I can give you this kind of website. What you're asking for really is something almost like Wikipedia, like, or you know, it's almost like a live translator or something. I said I can't do that. And then so she gives me the go ahead to make her a website. So I'm using, you know, what tools I've got, what skills I've got at the time, and I'm, you know, doing what I can. And she calls me up like a day or two later, and she goes, "Have you done this website yet?" And I said, "It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take more than a day." Like, and she goes, "I could make a website in 24 hours using Wix." or Squarespace.
No, not the Wix.
Yeah, and I said, okay, good luck with that. Go on then. And that was the last I spoke to her, because I thought, you literally have no idea what it is that that I've done for you, like over the past 6 months, or what it is that we do, you clearly have no respect for like the design process. Sometimes things aren't straightforward and things don't work. And
yeah. I mean, it's a complex field, and stuff like Wix, I won't bash them in that they're a really great way to start a business online very quickly. However, they're so limited, and very, very quickly, if your business has any kind of growth or success to it, you're going to hit those limits pretty quick. And then it's not a case of just adding on. Once you've hit that limit on Wix or Squarespace, there's nowhere to go. So you have to start again anyway on something more robust and future-proof like WordPress. So I always advise just skip that step, do it right the first time, and build it on WordPress, because I've never come across a site that you couldn't build on WordPress. And I built everything from simple info sites all the way up to, you know, national complex sites with memberships, e-commerce, anything. So yeah, it's funny though, like I think with clients like that, it's more about communicating what goes into it. I think a lot of them just don't realize because they don't understand, and why should they? I mean, they're not web designers. That's kind of you know, our job to educate and communicate. That being said, you can take a horse to water, but sometimes you can't make it drink. You know, I guess if their expectations aren't managed, they might think, oh, and it takes a day to make a website. But
yeah, I mean, to be fair, like at that time, I'm not a professional website designer either, and that was like my first sort of step into doing that sort of thing. So perhaps
start somewhere.
Yeah, perhaps the communication was an issue. It could be.
It's certainly like communication, I find, is the biggest issue for freelancers and web designers, and it's on both ends. Like, so most of our clients, I'd say about 50% of them, they come to us because they've been burned by another web designer, and usually they say, oh, the web designers are total, you know, like the IT crowd, the guy who's like hanging up the phone and just total like hates their clients. That's how they describe their web designer to me, and then it's go, don't worry about it, I'll contact them, I'll sort it. So I contact them, and it couldn't be further from the truth. They're nearly always a really nice person, and they're more than willing to help you and do the transfer and release control. But it's just that, like, they don't communicate well to the clients. The client thinks they've been an arsehole. I mean, there's always the exception to the rule. Sometimes a lot of web designers do just disappear off the face of the planet, and most often it's because I think they don't know how to do something, and then they don't know how to communicate to the client. They can't do it, and the relationship falls apart. But touch wood,
I did have that happen. I had that happen as well. At that same, it was like 2018 for some reason. It was just a really bad year for.
I said a bad year.
Yeah, for relationships with people. It was like the same thing. I started to think, could I do this as a business? Like, could I put digital media together, or websites or something? So I reached out to this guy. I was talking to him about Bitcoin, really, and he was a student of mine from before, and I thought, okay, I know him a little bit, so there's that sort of relationship from before. And he assured me, I've been doing this for years, since I left college, and do websites all the time. He was actually working for a web design company at the time as well, like doing websites for like golf and stuff like that, like golf sort of stores, what do you call them, where they sell things in bulk. And so I thought, yeah, cool, all right, let's do this project together. So a friend of mine, luckily it was a friend of mine, said, oh, I need a website doing, would you do it for me? And I was like, yeah, okay. So we had a look around about how we're going to do it, what it would cost, and went through it, and took like a deposit, like a goodwill gesture. And this kid just whipped off, took that 150, and never saw him again. And I was like,
Colin, unfortunately, I hear that all the time.
Yeah,
doesn't surprise me. But.
Yeah, so I was bitten by that, and I was not happy. Like that year, I felt like a failure really at that time, because I felt like I was making really poor choices about who I was hanging out with, or who I was thinking about doing business with, or I blame myself like a lot. But I came to realize that I'm not accountable for like other people's actions or
it's all a learning curve as well. You learn from every experience, don't you? So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's like, was that 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago? So yeah, I'm definitely more longer in the tooth now when it comes to stuff like that. But so if you were going to go through the process with somebody, and they were going to say to you, okay, I need a new website. What is it that you typically need from a client?
Well, typically a call kind of starts like I described, where they usually ask you off the bat, how much does a website cost? And of course, it's impossible to tell them until you have a more detailed idea of what their goals are for the business, because the cost of a website, which would be like a simple info or portfolio website, is vastly different from an e-commerce website, for example. They just require different amounts of time and different amounts of expertise, and that's why all web designers are different as well. A web designer that could do a really beautiful portfolio site won't necessarily be able to build you a really high complex e-commerce site, because they just require different skills. There's also that balance of designer vs developer, and I've found in my experience through honing my own freelance team of sidekicks, the designers tend to have a really abstract way their mind works, and that's not bad or good, it's just the way their mind works, and that's what makes them good designers. And then developers have the complete opposite of that, and they have a very logic-based brain that works in numbers and logic and conditions, which doesn't tie itself towards web design because it's all very structured. And finding someone that can do both of them is basically a unicorn. Like that's the kind of people I look for to work in my business. But yeah, in terms of what I would need from a client, I guess to answer the question, I would typically start probing into, firstly, why have they called me to ask for a website? What is the goal? Because most often the goal isn't actually what they think it is. So they think, I need a website, they think that's the goal. But what they actually want is more inquiries in the door, or they want to save 3 hours a week by not answering emails, by putting their FAQs on their website, or they want to not have to hire another staff to handle inquiries because it's all automated. But mostly it's leads. They want more business on their website, and they want to present a good impression online. And once you know the answer to what they're looking for, you can start to actually tell them or advise them what they need from a website, because most often it's kind of like that quote about Henry Ford. If he'd asked the people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse, when actually what they needed was a car. That's why we're so different from other web designers. We don't even talk about a website for usually the first 20 minutes of the call. It's about their business. What do they do? Who's their ideal customer? Who do they target? And if they can't answer those 3 questions, I'd be recommending that they need a brand first, because how can you design a website without the measurements if you don't know who you're targeting, if you don't know who's going to be looking at this website? It would be like designing a house without the plans. You would probably get there, but it would be a bit of a hodgepodge, and things wouldn't be right. You'd end up rebuilding things. So that's why I always advise starting with the brand first, and then the website. And the website obviously just depends on what their outputs are, whether they want an e-commerce store, a portfolio, or a booking website, or whatever that is. And then the third part, of course, would be educating them about the strategies to drive leads to the website. And that could be a variety of methods depending on their niche. If it's a fitness coach, for example, they might benefit more from social media. That's just a niche that does well there. If it's something else like that requires a bit more explanation or depth or a higher level of trust in order to convert, like a finance or something like that, if they're a financial advisor, I would advise something like PPC or SEO would work better for that particular niche. So really, you do have to, although we're selling a streamlined process, you do have to tailor it to each business, because at the end of the day, every business is different, and every business is going to have their own marketing funnel. And really, that's where you need to start tailoring it towards that particular business. And that's why at Design Hero, we are focused on results more than I like to say, we don't sell websites, we don't sell brands, we sell results, and we'll do whatever is most beneficial to your business and whatever delivers the best bang for your buck at the end of the day, because that's the service that we provide.
Dude, that's awesome. That is so professional. Like your answers are amazing. So if you were to take my podcast as a case study, and we were to just like go through it hypothetically. So I have a website that you could have a look at. Maybe you already have.
I've had a wee glance.
Yeah. So like that's a Wix site. You probably know that, right?
I didn't know. I didn't actually look at the source code. I just glanced over the site.
Yeah. So I've got loads of like different things on there on cybernaut.club, and there's different plugins from other services where I use their free features, like to add the podcast videos in there.
Sure.
But they have those like little labels, at the bottom of that. It's kind of like free marketing for them. That's the sort of the exchange.
Yeah.
And I'm at the stage where the podcast doesn't bring in any money. It's literally just a hobby but it is kind of, I can feel it growing. Like, it's picking up interest. And so I think one of the goals that I would like with this podcast would be to get sponsorship so that I could bring in an income. So what should I do? Because you'll notice on my website, it's got quite a few different tabs, and it's gone through loads of different generations. Like if you go on like the Wayback Machine, you look through what I've done over the past 40 years. You see like very different websites. Like so you've got it's basically almost like an expression of myself. So you've got music on there that I like. There's like playlists. You've got stories that I've written. You've got like maybe a CV page. There used to be products on there because I was like making my own t-shirts and stuff like that, but I got rid of that because I didn't know how to do it, couldn't manage it, wasn't selling any after ages. So yeah, I mean, I guess the purpose of a website for me would be to drive traffic to the YouTube.
I mean, it can serve multiple purposes, and actually, usually it goes the other way. Usually, it's YouTube driving traffic to your website.
Okay.
But I mean, from the things you said, first of all, I would not worry about it being a hobby instead of a business. There's this trend nowadays, which I think is toxic, of everyone has to make money from their hobbies. Your hobby has to be monetized to make a passive income and a side hustle. And why can't a hobby just be a hobby?
Yeah.
That being said, hobbies do turn into profitable businesses all the time. My own freelance business, Design Hero, being a case in point. I mean, I never studied anything to do with web design or anything to do with marketing or branding or even design. It was just always a hobby, and I started doing stuff for friends, and it turned into a business because that's what I enjoy doing, and that's the best way to start a business. Something that you really enjoy, that is going to be your passion, that you can also make money from because people need it. That's your ideal Goldilocks zone. And it sounds like you're still figuring that out, and that's fine because it takes years to figure that out. I still haven't figured it out. I still think about it all the time. And if you like music and you like TV and films or gaming or whatever it is on your website, that's fine. Do all that, explore, and then you will gradually tease out what the focus is going to be for you. But the only way to do that is experiment and try. There's not really a quick way to do that. In terms of the website, driving traffic, I mean, it just depends on who your customers are and what they're doing. I would normally go back to basics and say, who's your target customer? And I guess that this comes down to a kind of branding question. Where are they hanging out and what are they doing? And then that's going to be the platform where you're going to try and grab their attention. And then once you've got their attention, you can direct them to the website or to your YouTube. And it goes both ways. Like I won't pretend to be an expert on podcasting or broadcasting, because this is my entry into this as well. So I'm a total newbie in this area. But for me, I just have a section on my website where I put my YouTube videos, and people can watch them on YouTube and go to my website, or vice versa. And I also use YouTube to I'm going to create videos of a lot of my blog posts, which I use to provide free value to my customers. So it's another source of traffic.
So after like a year and a half of doing it, the original idea for this podcast, like hence the name, was it was going to be technology focused. It was all going to be about I figured that everything I wrote about, every article that I published, every blog post, every podcast would be tech focused. It would be all about like the future, what's coming down the pipeline, and it'd also have a look at sci-fi and stuff like that. But what I've actually found is that hasn't happened, and that's not a bad thing.
Really?
Yeah. So what's actually happened is that my audience has grown on LinkedIn, and it's meeting people like you. And what I love to do is to find out about people and find out about their businesses, their careers, their backgrounds. And so the podcast has kind of turned into almost like a professional digest, or like sort of learning about people, about their stories, about their careers. And it's sometimes it has tech elements in there. Definitely I talk to computer scientists or programmers or people who are into cryptocurrency or designers like yourself. But yeah, most of the time it's careers, and
it's really cool.
Yeah, we talk about films and stuff like that as well, which is awesome. Like that's my other main interest. So I think that's why I'm getting a lot of like pleasure out of doing it, about, you know, meeting new people, interacting with them on LinkedIn, and then they come on, and then I post the video on LinkedIn as well. So it's not like I've developed this sort of personal brand, and I've got quite, you know, a reasonable following on LinkedIn, over you know, over 3,000 followers on there, which is, yeah, it's pretty good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So at first, like, my idea, I was thinking Instagram, that's where I'm going to go. TikTok, I'm going to go on those places. But then I kept thinking, I'm not trying to sell anything. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to, that was the thing. I'm not trying to sell anything. All I'm trying to do is educate, you know. That's my background. I'm educating, you know, being a computer science lecturer, and talking about technology, but also love talking about careers.
Maybe it's careers in tech. Maybe that's your little double niche down there.
Yeah, it could be.
That's really interesting.
So where would I go from there? Like, if, you know, that's what it has naturally evolved into over time.
I would just double down on that. If it's naturally evolving into a route that's you're enjoying and people are getting value from, then that's the way to go. If people talking about their careers, like, everybody loves talking about themselves, and everybody loves talking about their career and how they got there. And actually, it's really interesting. I love hearing how people got into their careers, because in days gone past, I sound like an old fart now, but I'm not that old, but in days gone past, people would have had like 1 or 2 careers tops, and they would have just worked in that career for the whole life. Now you speak to people and they're like, I studied, I don't know, sports science, or I studied literature or whatever at uni or at school, and then I went and did something completely different after uni. And I love that, because that's the same as what I did. I mean, I took a really bizarre route into this career. I started, in fact, my first real job that wasn't working in an Amazon warehouse was at a product company that built doors. And I was basically, during the interview process, I said I had IT experience and I was good with computers, which is true. And of course, the natural response to that, whenever you say you're good with computers, I'm sure you've heard it yourself, is, oh, do you do websites? I'm like, oh, aye, sure, websites, aye, sure. And then, of course, totally absolute nonsense. I built a couple of really basic websites on Dreamweaver before, like really basic. So of course, my first day in the office, and they come in and go, right, well, we obviously hired you on as a product designer to design doors, but we'd rather you built the company website. We feel that'd be more valuable. I'm like, oh, great. So I'm sitting there with 2 monitors, one on the left, how to build a website, and one on the right, my website on Dreamweaver. And that was my first proper website that I ever really built. And I'm a big fan of learn by doing. I just think degrees nowadays are way overrated. Like, I've done 2 of them, and I honestly think you learn more in your first 3 months on a job than you do in the whole 4 years of uni. So I learned more. I basically learned how to do the website while I was building that one. And it was an old school HTML and CSS coded website, hardcore coded. And actually, I still got a copy of it because I checked out the other day. And it still stands the test of time, and it was mobile friendly. And this was 15 years ago, before mobile was such a big priority. So I think it stood up pretty well. But I even remember during the time I was doing it, they had a filming crew in to do an interview about the company. And I'm in the background doing my best, like, swordfish hacker impression, typing away on this keyboard like this, like what I think a coder's supposed to look like. I probably had no idea what I was doing. But like, that's how I did my first website, and I didn't come back to it for years. I mean, I studied product design and architecture, and I worked as an architect, and then eventually I came back to web design. But after years and years, and the skills I learned in those 2 fields were really valuable, and that they're transferable. Everything's transferable. If you've ever got an opportunity to pick up another skill, you should do it. Like, everyone keeps saying specialize and niche down, and I actually think you should just be constantly learning more and more skills, because they all stack. They all interrelate and are useful to other skills, and teach about other things. And more than that, like, when I come into web design, the reason that I was so shocked that, like, so many of my clients said that they've been burned by other web designers, and there was that whole Faulty Towers IT crowd thing. And obviously, coming from architecture, it was like, you can't treat clients like that. And the thing that a lot of web designers are missing, and a lot of people in tech are missing, is that human element. Like, people are people, and you need to, like, be able to communicate and talk and sell, because, like you said, if you're trying to sell something instead of trying to educate, the other person is immediately going to have that reaction of, I don't want to be sold to. No one wants to be sold to. People have to buy, but they don't want to be sold to. So if you can get in a call with someone and educate them about the value of your service or your product, and more than that, educate them why it's valuable to them, then they're gonna, by the end of that call, they're gonna be wanting to pay you to do it because they know you're going to do a good job, and they know you're going to provide them value, not because you're some car salesman like ramming it down their throat and tricking them into buying it,
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of learning and pass for me. Everyone comes into something a different way, and they pick up skills and they apply that to their field in a different way than they would have if they just went to uni and learned something and got taught the way that they're supposed to do it,
Yeah, I think the way the sort of the academic system works now, and I've got first-hand experience of being a lecturer, and I've literally just retired from teaching on Monday.
All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah, I've just left like after like 11 years of teaching.
Wow.
So I'm going into actually instructional design, which is kind of making e-learning courses. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Now I feel really bad about bashing there.
No, not at all. No, not at all. So no, you're right. You actually are, because that's been my experience, that I think universities, so for the courses that I've been on, that's all I can speak of. They train you how to become a good academic.
Yeah,
that's
it.
Exactly. That's it. So as long as you know how to research and critically analyze and evaluate and analyze results and all this sort of stuff, then yeah, that's great. They're always looking for new readers and professors and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not sure if I've definitely gained knowledge and skills and research skills and stuff like that, but I'm not sure how much of that I can translate or even compare to what I've learned through working. Definitely.
Yeah, it's certainly useful. I do, like, I'll hold my hands up and say, like, the stuff I learned in uni and school was useful, but it's so protracted, and I just feel like you could condense like 4 years of most uni courses into a 1 year course, and they don't do much or don't do enough learn by doing. You don't really learn a job until you start doing it. I mean, when I did an architecture degree, I did 5-year course and 2 years practical. I don't think we had a single project which included a budget. And then, of course, you go into the real world, and the first thing the client's talking about is their budget, because you have to design a project to budget. Now, I learned loads in uni in architecture and product design. I learned so many design skills and presentation skills, and even just like public speaking skills. And those are very valuable skills that you learn. However, they need to be condensed, and all of the kind of stuff that they throw in to pad out the course, they just need to chop all that, because you've got people like yourself that are getting into online courses that are just blowing them out the water and doing such a better job, because they're basically starting again from scratch and going, how would I do this if education didn't exist? And they're like reinventing it, and it's just brilliant. I love online courses.
Yeah, and it's a huge market. It's a massive market, and it's only going to get better. Like, as technology improves as well. Like, imagine having just the leap of having Zoom sessions with people from all over the world. And I delivered a sort of an educational session yesterday for the Power MBA, and so I was talking to people about shareholder theory versus stakeholder theory, and without having the ability to talk with those people from all around the world, and then do interactive activities, using all sorts of like online quizzes and like online polls and stuff like that, and presentation, all sorts of different things. Without that technology, without doing that online, I think that'd be a lot of paper and a lot of effort to do that in person and in a classroom, and it just wouldn't happen. So yeah, I got good feedback from that session. But
I love that oxymoron though of, it's remote, and it's, in some ways you would think it's less personal, but it's so much more personal. It's just a smaller group, and it's interactive, and you just can't do that in a lot of courses, especially during COVID. Obviously you can't do that, but I just think that's the way forwards.
Yeah, it was really that lockdown, the sort of the first, it was like the lockdowns in general, but that's what really made me think I like this modality. I like working from home, and that's what made me think, I want to pursue that.
So I love working from home.
Yeah. So
honestly, are you wearing trousers right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing shorts, right? I'll prove it.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe the number of meetings I've taken just boxers and a t-shirt.
Go on then, Stunner. What have you got? What's going
Oh
on?
no, I'll got my trousers on this
Yeah, there we
time.
go. There we go.
Promise.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, trousers in this weather. You're doing well. You're doing well. It's bloody roasting. Are you where are you? Are you up in Scotland now or?
Yeah, I'm in Scotland, so it's a bit cooler to be fair.
Yeah. Oh man, I miss the north. Like I used to live up in Lytham, which is between Blackpool and Preston.
Right.
So much cooler there on the west coast with that breeze coming in. Like yeah,
Yeah.
you still get hot days, but it's not like right now. I live down in Norfolk. Oh jeez, it's like I'm sweltering. I'm absolutely sweating.
I don't mind. To be honest, I quite like the rain. I don't like that kind of constant light drizzle you get in Scotland.
Yeah.
For like half the year. If it's pissing down, I love that. I'll go out and get wet.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
If it's roasting, I love that as well. But if it's like that just grey mush that you get
Yeah,
all the time, not
the
into
thing
that.
the thing that I dislike is like just the blanket of grey clouds. I
Yeah.
hate that. Like that makes
Oh,
me feel miserable.
yeah.
Like I need to see that blue sky. And
Yeah.
it perks me up.
No, it's the same. You need that. You need a bit of sunlight in the morning. That's what I love it. In the morning, first thing I do, get my coffee, go out to the garden, sit with my book, and hopefully, if it's dry enough, I sit with my book. That is. And I've got a dog and two cats, and they all sit about. I just read my book. It's lovely. That's my morning routine every time. So.
What kind of time are you getting up in the morning to do that? Early
I
rising?
usually get up about 7, just after 7.
Yeah, like a normal time.
Yeah, although I go to bed super early. Like me and my wife are both like, old at heart. We go if we're not in our bed by like 9 o'clock, no, any later than that, I'm alright off the next day.
Have you got kids?
No, just pets. Yeah.
You know what? That's great training for when you've got kids. Because let me tell you, I've got 2 girls, and
all right.
I used to be like, 10, 11 o'clock, kind of shut down, go to bed. Midnight, absolute latest. Now, if I'm not in bed at 9, like there's something wrong. Even 8. There's been many a day like this past year. Geez, man, I come in from work at 5, and I'm like, babe, I'm just going for a lie down. Like you'd never see me again, like till the next day. Absolutely.
Are you gonna be fully at home now? Are you working from home now?
Yeah, from Monday. I start on Monday. It's very exciting. They just sent me a laptop, so they must trust me. That's a good sign. I was kind of like I was nervous. I had to work like a 3-month notice period, which is I never did that before in my life. So it was long, and it was like building up my anxiety. I kept thinking like, is my new employer, are they going to be there like when I actually leave this 3 months, down the line? And they were great. Like the lady, she actually messaged me and she said, yeah, no worries, like your job's here. We're waiting for you. You're all good. But then it wasn't until the laptop arrived that I was like, it's real. It's actually happening.
They're not getting that laptop back. So.
Yeah, so I am excited. Yeah, I start on Monday. I've got like a 3-day induction. I'm going to find out, what it's all about. Obviously, there's some adjustment from designing for teaching to designing for like assessment and information. It's sort of similar, but I'm
that's cool. You'll be able to transfer those skills though. I mean, it'll be really like you'll need to get into a wee routine. That's the thing with working from home is you need a routine, because otherwise you just end up, vegging on the couch in your boxers eating crisps. You gotta have the self-discipline. But most people, the self-discipline is very hard. If you have a routine, it makes it easier.
Yeah. I'm not too bad with that. Like the kids get me up super early. So yeah. Early riser. There's that poem, isn't it? It says early to rise and early to bed. Is it?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the exact poem, but I do know I've heard that before. Yeah.
Is it a man who is early to bed and early to rise is healthy, wealthy, something and wise? Something like that. Do you know that?
Yeah.
It's like some old school stuff they used to teach me at like infant school. And yeah, it's true. I feel great like when I go to bed early.
Yeah, I think sleep's the one thing. Like, I think so many people cut on sleep, and I think more and more like there's that old fact. What's that factoid? It's like, see, before the electric light bulb, people used to sleep 12 hours a day or something. I can't remember the exact figure, but it was like 12 hours a day, and now we're down to like, the average is like 7 or something. So people are sleeping less and less, and it just has a total knock-on effect on your cognition and your health and your mood and everything. So if I don't get enough sleep, I'm an absolute monster. So.
Yeah, and I also heard or read that the pattern that people used to sleep in was very different as well. So they would sleep early, sort of like as soon as it went dark, like say 6, 7, and then they would wake up and then they would have a little bit of food and have a chat, from like 1 till 3 or something, and then go back to bed for like the remaining hours, and then get up again. So they'd have like that little break in between and have like a cup of tea or something, and then go back to bed. And yeah, if I go to bed early enough, I'm definitely waking up at 2. Definitely.
That's the definite the right model. Afternoon naps. I'm a big fan. They still do that in Spain, I believe. It's siesta or something, don't they? They go to bed about lunchtime.
Yeah, so I've got a friend who lives in the south of Spain where they actually still do this, right? And what it is he gets up pretty early, so he gets up like 5 or 6 in the morning, and then pretty much goes and starts his work day as soon as he gets there. So like 6:30, 7. Then they come back, and from 12 till 2 or 12 till 3, something like that, that's it, siesta time. Or you have a really long lunch. The business is closed down.
Really long lunch and a nap, ideal.
Yeah, like some wine as well, some tapas. And where he is down in Andalusia, like Malaga and Granada, specifically, like as well, more specifically Granada than Malaga. Every time you order a drink, you get tapas for free.
Oh, really?
They give you like
smashed in all the time.
Yeah. Like you go in, you order like even like a half a lager, or like a small beer or pint of lager or a wine. You'll get like a little pork sandwich, or some nuts or some crisps or some sliced ham on. Like they have that thing on the bone. They give you some slices of that, and
brilliant.
Yeah,
you make me hungry again. Just eat my dinner.
Yeah, if you haven't been to Granada in Spain, I definitely recommend it. There is a lot to see there. Like there's this gorgeous castle called the Alhambra. It was like Christian, then Islamic, then Christian, then Islamic, then Christian. It just went back and forth like for years and years, like they were smashing each other down there. And so it's got like a beautiful mix of like the two kind of architectures, and it's when you get up there, you can see the whole of the city and all of the surrounding areas because it's like right on a cliff, and you can see across the valley. It's one of the most beautiful views.
That's what when me and my wife go away on holiday, we're the kind of types that we can't sit by the pool and chill. We've got to like see everything. So we're always running about trying to see every castle, and we always do it at the exact wrong time. Everyone goes, don't do the hike up to the castle in the middle of the day because it's too hot and you'll pass out. So what do we do? 1 o'clock, backpacked, halfway up, marching up the hill, passing out.
Oh man, you forgot you were Scottish. It's like,
I know.
The sun,
not
like,
made for this. Plus, my wife's like a ghost. She's classic Scottish alabaster skin.
Mine too.
Fire.
My wife, she's like strawberry blonde, and her ancestry is Scottish. Scottish and Yorkshire, like what a mix. And so yeah, she's like a ghost, same thing. Yeah, she can't be out in the sun. No, she's I like to call her a day walker. She's
a white walker. That's my wife as well. We're just back from Rome actually. We were on holiday in Rome, and they're having a heat wave. Even for them, they were finding it hot. So it was like 32 degrees for it there, and it was just baking off the pavement. It was just too hot for me, but there was just so much to see. It was just such a stunning place.
Was that your first time there?
Yeah, it's always been on the bucket list, and we just decided to go basically and do it, and no regrets. It was beautiful.
When you went over there, did you have like an Airbnb, or what was the situation for?
Just had a wee hotel. It was quite central. We walked 12 miles a day. It was just seeing everything. We saw like Sistine Chapel, so St. Paul's. One of the best days, we took electric bikes out to do the old Appia, the old Roman road, and that was just fantastic. Because we took the bikes, we got a wee bit further along the road than most of the people who just take a wander and turn back. So it was literally just the two of us in the middle of nowhere with these perfect golden fields with the little purple flowers and the olive trees and the aqueduct. It was just like the exact picture someone said to you, picture like the Italian countryside. It was just absolutely magic. And then the city as well, just there's so many things to see that it sounds awful, but every building is just, you know, this £1 million building that took 20 years and 20,000 slaves to build, and all the wealth from Jerusalem that was stolen went into this building, and you see so many of them, and eventually you're just like, oh look, another priceless act, and you just walk right past it.
It's literally like wherever your eye goes in Rome, there's something beautiful to look at. Like there's something there. Like I've been a few times, and I remember my first time, and I was just walking down the street, and I was like, wow, great, like, you know, not too far away from this Airbnb where we were. Turned the corner, and it was the sort of the Roman palace where is it their sort of like Houses of Parliament or something? Or you've got the huge steps going up to the building, and then the Roman Forum is behind it.
Oh, it's the World War One. They built it to commemorate the end of World War One, and the scale of it is just huge, absolutely massive, isn't it?
It's insane. Like, it's easily one of my favorite places to go. Like Rome, I love it. I could visit there like again and again and again. I'd never get bored, I don't think.
There's just so much to see.
And the what did you go to? You went to see a lot of different places. Like, did you go to Colosseum?
Yeah, I went to Colosseum. Yeah.
What was your like really impression or your feeling from that?
It was absolutely the age of it was really impressive, and just the way, see, when you went down into the ruins, you could picture how it was. The fact that they closed it all off was great. I did feel like it was bizarre. Like there was this kind of weird thing in Rome where they've got all these amazing, like priceless, total heritage sites, but they seem to almost take it for granted in a way. Like they sort of like just wandered in. There was no like preservation of them, and then there was like no really clear signage, so everyone was just sort of milling about, not sure where to go when you went in. It was quite weird, actually. But the actual Colosseum itself was really, really impressive.
It's nice. And one of my favorite buildings there is is it called the Pantheon? The Pantheon, the one. Yeah, did you go there?
Yeah, the one with the hole in the top.
Yeah,
that's the one we missed, actually. We just
no,
it just didn't make the list because we had so many other things that we'd been seeing, and we needed a day where we just couldn't walk any further. So like, we've already seen about 90 priceless arts today, so
oh man, that gives you a reason to go back. Like, you've got to see that. Like, if you think that the Vatican was big, which it is, like I remember standing there, you've got the rows of statues and pillars, as you're walking up to the front of the building. That feels like humongous, and it is. But when you go to the Pantheon and you're like, how did they make this thing? Like, what is this roof? Why has it got a hole in it? Like, it's just,
it blows your mind. I mean, the amount of wealth that just poured into that city for thousands of years, and you can't even contemplate the level of wealth and power that was just all like condensed in this tiny, and not tiny, but in one city. It just blows your mind. St. Paul's was a real highlight for me. That circle you mentioned with the statues. If you actually go into the cathedral there, just the roof architecture that was going on, it was total roof porn, just gold everywhere, massive. Everything was just, every corner and facet of that building had just been designed. The amount of time that must have gone into it, it was lifetimes of
it's unbelievable people. Isn't it? Like that, how beautiful that building is, and all of the contents of that building as well. Like, unbelievable. When you went in there, did you happen to see you would be probably walking down a corridor, and there would be tapestries or paintings on either side, and then you get to the bottom. Maybe I'm misremembering, but there's like a huge dish. Like, I'm talking like this thing is almost like as big as a swimming pool, but it's like a font or something, or like a baptismal thing. Right, totally. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was like the biggest Dorito bowl I've ever seen.
Yeah. Dude, what was
we're back on the food again.
Why was that so big? Like, what is that for?
Really, really like Doritos.
Yeah, damn, like that's so big. Like, what is that for? Is that for holy water and like dishing it out, or what is that? Like, I don't even know.
No idea. It's impressive so anyway. Though.
Very impressive. Yeah. And the thing that astounded me actually was how much Egyptian stuff they had, and they had like artifacts from all over the place. So they had like, I'm sure there was some like Babylonian stuff in there, like kind of Persian stuff, but there was definitely loads of Egyptian.
Yeah, well, there was the whole alliance of Egypt, Cleopatra,
yeah.
and Caesar, so that's where a lot of that Egyptian influence came from. But
Mm.
Rome was sort of just a big parasite that sponged off of all these civilizations all over the world, and they would just take their culture, take it back to Rome, pop it in a museum, and they just kept doing that from all over the world. And Egypt was one of the ones that that actually formed
I'm kind of grateful that they did. Like,
yeah,
because we get to see it. Like, I mean, obviously, at the time, it's not good to go around like conquering other people, but it is what it is, and it happened, and there's no changing it. But
it was just a done thing back then.
Yeah, that's just how people were. Like that's how a lot of different groups of people still are today. You know, kind of tribal and just go and do what's best for their people. But yeah,
crazy. No, it's magic. I love travel. I just think you always come back with a fresh perspective. I mean, I haven't been. That's the first major holiday we've taken in probably 3-4 years, and the rest of the time we've just been holidaying in Scotland. But every time you go abroad, you just come back with a total fresh perspective, and you realise, see when that plane takes off, and you think Scotland's a small country, and you look out the window, and it just keeps going and going. You're like, my God, it's just such a big planet. You know, it's amazing. I love that feeling. And then you go away on holiday and experience new cultures, new ideas, and everything's different and just a wee bit different. It makes you appreciate how to take different viewpoints, and that's the best thing about traveling for me.
I think it, like, for me as well, it makes me appreciate home as well. Like, because if you go away for like a couple of weeks, and you kind of I kind of get like a bit homesick after a while, or you kind of like think, am I really gonna eat pizza or pasta again? Like, I could just really go for a cup of tea right now. Like, I don't want any more coffee. Like,
I put on 1.5 kilos in 5 days. Just from pasta and wine, man. That was all pasta and wine.
Dude, so good. Oh man, when you went to Italy, like, is that the only place that you've ever been in Italy? Was that your first time in the country?
Yeah, first time in Italy, and only time in Italy, but definitely go back. I think I'd love to see the Alps. Maybe not from the Italian side, but yeah, definitely. There's just so much to see. I'd love to do more of a country visit, or somewhere more rural. Now see the city. I'd love to go out to, Tuscany or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's actually amazing, like, to go and see, and I know it's very touristy, but Venice, like, is otherworldly. And if you go in February, I think it is, they have a thing called Carnival, and that's when loads of, like, all of the people of Venice, or the sort of the wealthy, they'll be dressed up in the classical costumes and wearing
the masks
and stuff. So literally in 2018, by accident, my wife and I, like, we went to Italy on holiday. We didn't know it was Carnival. So we got an Airbnb in Rome. We hired a car, and then we drove up to Piacenza, because I've got a friend, Elena, who lives there. And then we went from there to Pisa, and then from Pisa to Lake Garda, and then from Lake Garda to Venice. And we stayed in Venice, and it was Carnival, and there was like, when you walk down the street there, it's like you're in labyrinth, right?
Yeah.
You don't know where you're going. Sometimes your phone signal doesn't even work, so you could be going around in circles. It's like a complete maze, and it's not very big, really, like, compared to other cities. But it is beautiful, absolutely stunning. And
you didn't get the memo about the dress code, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, some of the costumes there are absolutely phenomenal as well. Really great. I definitely recommend it. Like, trying to kind of time it with that if you can, because that'll be something great to experience.
We went to Amsterdam for cooking off for the Tulip Festival with my wife. I'd definitely recommend that if there was like a bucket list. It's just fields of colours. It's like this perfect little, like, seasonal tulip festival, basically, and some of the colours and the landscape, and you see it's just like a perfect little Hopton, like in Lord of the Rings or something. It's just absolutely stunning. I love Amsterdam. I'd quite happily live there, to be honest. All of the Dutch people are just so nice and happy and fit and healthy and so forward thinking. They're really great people.
I really love their cities. I've been to Rotterdam and Schiphol Airport and Amsterdam a few times, and similarly Denmark, like Copenhagen. Same, same sort of outlook on life.
Yeah,
Everybody's
really
super
positive.
friendly and healthy, and yeah, it's definitely attractive, isn't it? Thinking about going over there.
Yeah, well, everyone's attractive in Amsterdam because they're all cycling, they're all fit as fiddles.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's so good looking and tall and healthy. Like you start in Scotland and you think you're, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit bold here, maybe I'm a 7, and you go over to Amsterdam, suddenly you're a 3. It's quite demoralizing.
Yeah, like the guys over there are like they're just big, really big, like
they're all out
really
exercising
healthy,
all the time. Out
really
in the morning,
fit.
like we're walking to the park, and people are just walking to work. They're wearing their suits, but they're actually like going to the park, exercising, and then going to work like wearing a suit, and that's just normal. Whereas over here, everyone's sitting in one person in a car, and they just have a healthy lifestyle. It's just the culture, I guess.
I wonder, as like global warming continues, like it continues to get hotter over here, if our lifestyles will change, if people will start to switch off and go out and do, have like what I really liked when the pandemic was going on and everybody had to eat outside, like it had like a real kind of European feel to the town centers. I think that was really cool. I think they should still continue that.
I remember at the start of lockdown, and they introduced the rule that was you could only go out like once a day or something, or twice a day to walk your dog, and you were allowed out with your family, and you had the bubble. Remember the whole bubble policy as well? It changes every week. I can't remember what the particular rules were at the time, but I remember going out. I was taking the dog out to walk, and because it was all shut, I went to the golf course and I was walking with the golf course, and then you'd see like families out walking or out cycling as their daily exercise, and I remember thinking, this is actually really nice. This feels like what life should be, like people going out and doing exercise and like getting outside. It's bizarre how like when you actually think about it, there was absolutely nothing stopping them doing that before. The only difference is because they limited it to one, as a marketing thing here, because they limited it to one, they introduced scarcity, and suddenly everyone wanted it. they wanted to go outside just because they couldn't.
You said that, like I don't think I've been outside for 3 days.
Oh man, that's bad.
I think it's 3 days, but the last time I did go out, I was in London, so like I kind of like I had my fill, and then the next day I was knackered, and then what was it, yesterday? I don't know what I did yesterday, and then today I've changed everything around, so that was pretty hectic. But I need to get out. Like every day.
I'm start crazy. I make a policy just try and get outside as much as possible. I'm like sitting out there with my laptop anytime I possibly can. I've got a little custom made box to shade it. I'm sitting there on my laptop in the garden. Everyone has this image of a web designer in the basement.
Like that. I've got I've got a hammock as well, which is
hammocks, man. I love hammocks.
Yeah, I don't want to plug them or anything, but like Argos had a really good deal on hammocks. Last
my link here.
Yeah, link here. Link here for hammocks, sponsored by Cybernaut Club. And so I bought one for my sister and like sent it to her, and I bought one for my mate Matt and just sent it to him. And I was just sending hammocks to people.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir. I've got one, and all of my best ideas come in the hammock. I've got a joke with one of my clients, Julia, over at the Badass Rule. She runs like a community for female entrepreneurs. But she's always laughing because I'm always emailing her, messaging her from the hammock, and I'm coming up with a new idea, and she's like, "Are you in the hammock right now?" I'm like, "Yeah."
It's the way to go. I think hammocks are underrated, and also walks as well. Let's just do a really quick time check.
Yeah, of course. We're probably running over.
We're over an hour. Dude, honestly, it's been absolutely awesome talking with you about design, about your business and stuff like that. I don't want to cut it short, but I'm absolutely parched.
I've like time flies when you're having fun. It's been so nice meeting you. I really enjoyed our time. I didn't realize it'd been over an hour. It just flies in, doesn't it? You should come back on. Like, we've obviously got loads to talk about, so we should definitely do this again. You could like critique my website or something. We can like go through it, and you can talk about your thought process or something, as you're looking at a website or as you're starting from scratch. Yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
One idea I've got, I'm introducing a new service essentially, which is exactly what you're saying. It's I already do website audits. I'm going to start introducing it as a paid service, obviously paying for my expertise. However, at this point, I'm still looking for feedback from people on how I can improve it. So, I could do a free audit of your website. We'll do it on the channel, and I can use that to get a bit of feedback about how you find it and how useful it is. And obviously, if you're happy with it, you could give me a testimonial that I can use to sell the service eventually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, you've got your brand there, you've got your name and everything. But please, for the people at home, like if anybody's watching this, when it gets put out, how is it best that they get in touch with you if they need a website? Everybody needs a website. You need a website. Contact this guy. What are you waiting for?
Google Design Hero. Visit my website. You can type my name. It's Nicholas Robb at Design Hero. You can go to www.design-hero.com. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm all over the place. Just call for Design Hero and I'll be there.
He's more prolific than COVID. Like he's everywhere. Oh my God, I don't know where that came from.
So I just swooped down from the sky. I said, message in the clouds or something.
Awesome. So lovely. Like awesome talking to you. Thanks so much
for thanks for having me on the show. It's been great.
I learned a lot, and I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, we'll speak soon. Thanks so much.
Cool. Awesome, buddy. Cheers.
Have a good night. Bye.